Hi guys, so in today's class we're doing some rolling exercises. If rolling isn't for you, you can either concentrate on the second workout of this week, or you can just skip the rolling exercises in this class whatsoever and focus on the exercises that you do want to be involved in. So we're going to start standing upright for the warm-up. Now, we want to connect to the soles of our feet. I want you to think about balance in today's class, because balance is primarily where the rolling portion of our exercises really stem towards, and there are big progressions in mat work that are just focused on rolling and balance. So, standing on the soles of your feet with your feet hip width, relax your shoulders and float the sternum. Relax your arms by your side, take a soft breath in and out. And then start to circle the weight over the soles of the feet. You can lightly lift the toes from the mat and just feel the connection under the tripod at the sole of your feet. So we've got our tripod stance in the heel of the foot, behind the second toe and behind the baby toe in the ball of the foot. Gentle in and out breath and circle. See if you can really connect to the ground through the soles of your feet. Stop in the middle and then try and reverse your circle. And see if you can gently transition the weight from the outside sole of one foot across to the ball of the feet. And there's a pause in the middle where you can find that balance. And then to the outside sole and back to the heel. Try to keep your heels down. Just allow the weight to transfer in that small diameter of the circle. In a moment, you're going to come back to the middle. Now I want you to have really strong balance between your feet. You're not more one side than the other, and you're not towards the front or the back of the foot. From this point, relax your arms by your side. Take a nice soft breath in, not forgetting the sternum. We're going to peel the heels off for our calf raises. So as we lift the heels off, we're going to start to roll to lift the arches of the feet. You're lifting directly up onto the ball of the foot, those 2 points of your tripod. Exhale to lift. Think about lifting the spine tall, connecting to the ceiling with the crown of your head, and then slowly returning on the inward breath. The heels come back to the mat. Good, do that again. Exhale, lift off the heels, roll through the arches of the feet, lift onto the ball of the foot. Try not to pronate or roll out through the ankles. Think about that connection behind your second big toe. And then come back down on the inward breath. You don't have to pause at the top. Keep it going. Exhale to lift. Keep the sternum floated. Think about lifting the crown directly up and then coming back down slowly. Good. Add in your arm prep if you'd like more balance work. As you peel the heels off, roll through the arches of your feet. Exhale. You can start to lift your arms directly overhead or in line with the chest. And then inhale, come back down. So calf raises are a great exercise to find balance in the ball of the foot. They are a strengthening exercise for your ankles and your feet. You can have your hand placed against a wall if your balance is not what you want it to be yet. You can take one arm away. You could work with 2 arms. Good. Think about those points of contact. When you lift off of the heel and roll through the arches of the feet, we're lifting directly up, not forwards. And we're really thinking about lifting the arches of the feet high and then coming back down. If you're someone that has flat arches, this is something I want you to really practice and think about. As you lift off of the heel of the foot, it's not just about lifting it off. It's about now arching the foot really high. So you get that extra millimeter of length through the spine and then come back down. Good, do 3 more. Calf raise, exhale to lift and inhale to come back down. Now as you're doing this, your core muscles will naturally start to activate. Why? Because we're moving out of our normal standing posture. If we were to shift to the side, your obliques would naturally come on. If you were to fall forwards, you would find that your back muscles are stimulated to stop you overarching through the back and really falling forwards onto your face. Make this your last calf raise. Good, come back to the mat. Settle the heels down, relax the shoulders. Take a nice soft breath in and out. We're going to wrap our hands around a big beach ball, clasping onto the fingers. You want to soften your knees and think about softly drawing the tailbone down, coming back to a neutral position of the spine and switching on the T-zone for support. Now your belt's done up, drop your chin to your chest, and on your next exhale, pull your fingertips away and start to widen through the shoulders. See if you can really widen your thoracic back and get a good stretch. And then inhale, slowly release. Float your chin over your sternum. Bring your fingers back to you. Good. On the exhale, chin to chest. Really reach the fingers away. Start to round open the back. Good. And then inhale, come back. Good. So for some of you, staying within neutral is going to give you a lovely connection to your mid-center back and your thoracic release in this hugger tree stretch. Some of you may find that you want to add a little bit more posterior tilt to come into a larger component of this stretch. So as you pull your fingertips away and exhale, dropping chin to chest, you can also squeeze your glutes ever so gently, no more than 50%, to draw the tailbone down and to come into a small range of posterior tilt, which will also give you a lower thoracic into lumbar connection and a nice stretch here too. Inhale as you release. You want to come back to that neutral standing posture, floating the chin and allowing the tailbone to float back to neutral. Good. Exhale, chin to chest, reach away. Have that little subtle butt squeeze to draw the tailbone softly down, coming into that small range. It's very small of posterior tilt. And then inhale to undo. Good. Let's do 2 more for whatever you're doing. Stick within the neutral range if you just want to concentrate in neutral spine and upper thoracic back, or add that small range of posterior tilt with glute squeeze, just to give you that mid to lower back connection. Your last one. Good. So we really want to round open the upper back and then release it, coming back to neutral. Draw the shoulder blades down, float the sternum once more. Excellent. We're going to go into our roll downs from here. If you're not rolling, you can come back to your standing balance work. You could lift your foot from the mat, really focus on that frontal raise for 10 reps. Then try to take it out to the side for 10 reps and behind, squeezing the glute max. You can do your standing balance work, 10 repetitions on each leg for each of those exercises. Otherwise, relax your arms by your side with soft knees. Start to float the sternum for your breath in, and then start to drop the chin to the chest. Now you're lengthening your neck. Exhale, drop your ribs towards your hips, scooping out the belly. Try to lower the head directly in front of the sternum and allow the upper back to round, pretty much widening at the same portion that you were doing in your hugger tree. Sink the ribs in and down, and feel yourself lower the upper body forwards and down. Give your head a nice nod for yes and a shake for no at the bottom, releasing tension. Take a deep breath in. Pushing into your heels, you're going to scoop out the belly, start to switch on through the tripod at the base of the feet, and then start to stack the vertebrae upright. Exhale, lifting the spine tall once more. At the top, when you take your breath in, float the sternum, relax the shoulders. Good. Drop chin to chest, open the neck. Exhale, sink and melt ribs to hips. Good. As we're allowing the head to travel in front of the belt line, we can soften the knees or bend them here. Arms are loose like ragdolls, and we softly draw the spine towards the mat through the crown of the head. Take a deep breath in at the bottom. Release your neck. On an exhale, push through your heels. Start to scoop the belly. Start to switch on the bottom of the feet, the legs, as we stack the vertebrae upright. Lifting through the crown of the head, drawing the shoulders down. Float the sternum. Inhale, let's do 3. Now your roll downs are all about your back mobility. You may find that you want to limit your roll down. You may find that you're getting tension in your hamstrings. We will stretch our hamstrings later on in the class. But really, just take a note of what feels good for you today. If you find that your back is feeling quite tight, you may want to limit the rolling exercises that you do. Let's keep it going for our final 2. Really just concentrate on the rolling. Try not to push the buttocks back. Try to keep the buttocks directly in line with your feet. So you're really rolling forwards and down. Imagine that you're a weeping willow here. Allow the neck, the arms to be loose. Take your breath in at the bottom. Exhale, push through the soles of the feet, switching on the legs. Exhale, scoop the tummy and roll to the top. Let's make this our last one here. Now, at the bottom of this roll down, we'll transfer to 4-point kneeling. If you would rather stay upright, you can stay upright and stand against the wall for some of our exercises. In this position, soften your knees, take your breath in. Now, on an exhale, start to walk out on a very thin plank of wood. As you place your hands down to walk yourself forwards, try not to shuffle side to side. Think about placing the weight of your knees down slowly, so you're really utilizing the abdominals. You're not really swinging side to side here. As you come into your 4-point kneeling box, you might want to take some time in your child's pose to relax your back, to really stretch side to side, whatever you need to do. Now in 4-point kneeling, we're going to spend a little bit of time. We're going to start with our tricep press. Hands want to be directly under your shoulder. Softly draw your shoulder blades down, lengthen that neck. If you're standing upright, you can still have your hands positioned against the wall, and it's the same cueing. We're going to draw our elbows back in line with our knees. Take your inward breath, lift your pelvic floor. Now as you exhale, I'd like you to think about lifting your abdominals from the mat. As you lift them up, the 2 hip bones at the front of your belt line are going to be narrowing, switching on the transverse belt. As you inhale, you're going to drop your nose down between your hands, pull your elbows back towards your knees. Think about keeping the abdominals lifted, and on the exhale, push away from the ground to lengthen the arms once more. Those of you that are a hyperextender and will try to rotate your elbows underneath, such like this, I want you to have a gentle turn out, so your elbows facing outwards rather than inwards. We want to track the elbow towards the knee, but we're not hyperextending, and this would cause us to have a lot of tension running through the elbow joint, and particularly the canal where our nerve ending will run through, and we often get impingement either in the shoulder and the wrist from this position. Try to think about your tricep press, keeping a nice neutral spine. We want to keep the abdominals lifted, shoulder blades drawn down from the ears. Now tricep press is a back of the arm move. So you're really concentrating, exhale, lifting the belly away from the mat to push yourself on up on that exhale, straightening the elbows and bringing the shoulders back in line with the palms. Let's do 4. The knees are non-moving. Try not to push your bum back beyond your kneecaps. Try to use that forearm group of muscles. Last one. Good, come upright. Now stay switched on if you can. Try to keep your hands placed underneath your shoulders. We're going to take a salute position, raising one arm from the mat, placing our fingers just by our temples. Try to lift your elbow so that you have a really nice straight line from your chest to your elbow here. Press away from this one supporting palm, take a deep breath in. Now on the exhale, you're going to rotate your elbow down and under as if you were trying to reach underneath the supporting elbow joint. Turn your eye line to look over your tricep of your supporting arm, and then inhale, unrotate. If I turn to the front to show you, we're practicing inward rotation. We're going to exhale to rotate down, under, and through. You can see that I'm looking over my tricep group, the muscle I previously worked. I'm keeping my belt line parallel to the mat. Inhale to undo. Exhale, and inhale. If it helps you, think about drawing your armpit towards the hip bone on the opposite side, just like you would do for your oblique curl. However, in this position, we're working against gravity, so try not to let your abdominals sag down towards the mat. This inwards rotation is keeping the pelvis fixed over the knees. Exhale to rotate down, under, and through, looking over your tricep group. Inhale to unrotate. We're going to do 10, so we've got approximately 5 more. Exhale and inhale. Good, this one supporting arm is starting to fatigue. Keep drawing the shoulder blade down away from the earlobe. Keep the shoulder over the palm. Our final 2. Exhale to rotate, armpit towards the opposite hip bone or elbow towards the opposite elbow joint. Inhale to undo, last one. Inhale, arm out to the side. Place the hand down, take a nice deep breath in. Pull the buttocks back towards the heels, resting back in the child's pose. You can bend your forearms and drop your forehead down to the mat. Let it rest. Have a little shake of yes and no to release tension off that cervical spine. And take as long as you need in this position. We want pelvic floor and abdominals resting down, so when you're in that position, that's your time out. We're going to take it to the other side and repeat that internal rotation. So, coming back to 4-point kneeling box. Hands are in line with the shoulder. Draw the shoulder blades down to lengthen the neck and make sure it's free. Switching on, take your inward breath, lifting the pelvic floor. Exhale, scooping the belly off the mat, 2 hip bones narrowing. Lovely. From this position, draw the shoulder blades down and start to lift one hand from the mat, placing the fingers on the temple. Elbow out to the side. Think about that nice strong line from your chest to your elbow. On your next exhale, scooping the belly, we're going to rotate down, under and through, looking over our supporting arms tricep group. And then inhale to unrotate, arm back to the side. Try to keep the shoulder blades down, try to keep the hips fixed. We're exhaling to rotate, elbow towards the underside of the elbow joint on the supporting arm. Or if you'd like, you can exhale and rotate your armpit across the opposite hip bone, very much the same cueing as your oblique curl when you are lying on your back. Try not to let your tummy sag, so as you exhale to rotate down, under and through, allow your head to turn with your arm. Inhale to unrotate, arm draws out to the side. Exhale, draw the ribs towards the hips on the opposite side, scooping the belly, and inhale to unrotate. Good, going for your 10, looking at inward rotation, really allowing the spine to move. Draw the shoulder blade down, keep the shoulder in line with that supporting arm. If you need to, turn the elbow out for my hyperextenders. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Come back to the mat. Take your rest in your child's pose before we move on. So we're going to do now a little bit of rotation, but focus downwards in our happy puppy. Come back to your 4-point kneeling box. Now if you're standing upright and you cannot get the focus of this, you can do your lateral flexion instead. Your scarecrow reaches side to side, pushing the elbow up, extending the arm, and then reaching over to get a nice side stretch and also release tension through the QLs, which is what we're focused on here. Now your 4-point kneeling box happy puppy, you want to switch back onto that T-zone. Shoulder blades down. Now we're going to lift one front of the foot, one front of the shin from the mat. The knee stays connected. This is going to be our pivot point for our stretch. We're going to focus on inwards and outwards rotation at this knee joint, and we're going to follow it with the spine. So on your next exhale, you're going to rotate your foot over your supporting ankle and calf. This is this external rotation of the knee, and you're going to turn your eye line to look over your tricep, over your shoulder, over your buttocks, at your foot. Good, then we're going to inhale, unrotate, and then take it outside of the box into inwards rotation of the knee joint. Turn your eye line to look over your shoulder. You should be able to see a little bit of your foot, possibly not much if you're quite tight through the back. Inhale, come back to center. Let's repeat 3 more. Exhale, rotate across, really turning the eye line to look, and you should feel like the ribbed hip on one side is closed. Inhale, come back to center. This time, exhale, rotate inwards through the knee joint to rotate the foot out of the box. Look over that shoulder. Good. Inhale, back to center, 2 more. Each time you do this internal and external rotation of the foot, from the knee joint rotating out and in, you want to see if you can see a little bit more of your foot by turning to look over the box a little bit more, getting that lateral flexion and a bit of rotation. Good, let's make this our last one on this side. Now make a mental note of how much of the foot you saw. Let's try to make it equal on the other side. Shoulders down, switch back onto the T-zone, float the front of the foot, the shin from the mat. On your next exhale, you're going to focus on external rotation of the knee to turn the foot over the supporting calf and ankle. Look over your shoulder, your buttocks, your hip. How much of your foot can you see? Inhale, come back to center, then take it outside of the box, that inwards rotation of the knee. Can you see a little bit more of your foot on this side, or do you need to work a little bit harder with that upper body rotation? Exhale, rotate over your supporting leg. Turn and look at that foot. Inhale to center. Good, keep going. Going for your happy puppy, 2 more on each side. Now, if you tend to run or you tend to be a cyclist, or you play a sport which is quite single-sided dominance, tennis or golf, you may find that your QLs on one side are quite tight, and that prevents you from seeing that full view of your foot on each side. Make this your last one. Focus on that lovely view of your foot by turning and feeling your rib to hip is closed on one side and you're stretching your back on the other side. Come back to center, release the foot, have that break in your child's pose. Beautiful. One last exercise in 4-point kneeling. I know your wrists are probably quite tired. We're coming back to tricep press, or if you'd like, your tricep circles. If you're very fatigued in the upper body, tricep press is where you complete this 4-point kneeling section. Tricep circles is adding on to this. Remember, hyperextenders, start to turn the elbow out, not in. Don't hyperextend the elbow joint and cause any tension through that canal where the nerve runs, carpal tunnel. Draw the shoulder blades down, switch onto the T-zone. Now for our tricep press and circle, they begin the same way. We're going to inhale, drop the nose down between the hands, drawing the elbows into the sides of our box towards our knees. For your tricep circle, keep the tummy lifted. Try not to arch the back as you shift your head forwards with your fingers. Exhale, push away from the ground to lengthen the arms and gently bring the shoulder back over the palm. Very small, concise movements. Inhale, nose down. Exhale, shuffle forwards. Exhale, push off. Draw your shoulder blades down. Utilize that really strong connection to your back. I need to move away from my sofa. Always bring the shoulder back in line with the palm. Inhale down. Reach forwards. Exhale, push off. I have to work really hard in this exercise because I'm prone to be quite lazy, and I will arch my back to push myself off. Try not to let that happen here. Keep the T-zone working really hard. If this aggravates the shoulder or the wrist, come back to tricep press or widen, and you can do your chest press level 1 if you prefer. We're going for 10, so you should have 4 more. Inhale down, shuffle forwards, exhale, push off and extend, rolling the weight back, shoulder over palm. Some of you may need to also take this into a bear claw pattern by clawing your index fingers, from index to baby finger from the mat, so you're creating less tension through that wrist joint. Good. Let's make this our last one. Inhale down and push off. Good. Come back to the box. Reach the fingertips forwards, pull the buttocks back and down, drop the forehead and have a little stretch. Wiggle side to side. Release the tension in your active prayer stretch. Stretching underneath your armpits and down through your lats. Have a little rest. And then when you're ready, come up to your mat. Roll the mat's edge for hinge. If hinge is not for you, sorry, I've got a tickly nose. If hinge is not for you, you can lay on your side and do a series of clam 1, clam 2. 10 of each before changing to the opposite side. Now hinge is an exercise where we look at engagement of our quadriceps. We want to create cushioning, so you can add an extra cushion if you need to under those knees. You want to bring yourself upright, come back to thinking about your standing posture and look at really being neutral in the spine. I'm quite lazy, so I tend to tilt my pelvis forwards in this position to navigate away from my quite tight quadriceps from running. So in order to get me out of this lazy habit of really lifting my tailbone and setting my hips back, I'm going to engage a small amount of my glutes to softly draw my tailbone down, and you can notice the difference, bringing me more into neutral. I've not really squeezed 100%. I've got probably 30% of my glutes on to draw the tailbone down and to come into neutral. Hands are resting on your quadriceps, shoulders draw down. Think about dropping your chin to your chest and have a lovely breath in and out. Think about switching on the T-zone for me. And then on your next inward breath, start to rock back a straight line from hip, knee and shoulder, feeling the stretch on the quadricep. And then as you exhale, slowly return upright. Don't thrust your weight forwards through your hips or your chin. Keep the chin tucked. Inhale to rock back, a straight line from hip, knee, shoulder. As we exhale, we're slowly coming up, spending a lot of time over tension on those quadriceps. Keep it going. Inhale, shoulders down, rock back. Exhale. Use the belly, drawing the ribs to hips to bring you back on up. Try not to arch through the back. Ribs draw to hips. And we slowly come on up, looking at that lovely line of tension from knee, hip, shoulder. For some of you that get any neck irritation in this position, I want you to lightly press the tongue to your roof of your mouth, part your lips. Good. Look down the tip of your nose and keep it going for your hinge. Looking at our rectus femoris quadricep engagement, which runs over the hip joint, hence why I need to drop my hips back gently, because my hip flexors are naturally quite weak and tight. Good. This quadricep runs over our hip joint and into our knee, and so that's why you're looking for a really nice spinal alignment in this position to really get the most out of our hinge for rectus femoris. Let's make this our final 3. Shoulders down, chin lightly tucked. If you need, look down the tip of the nose. Good. Your final 1. Inhale back, slowly come upright. Beautiful. From this position, if you're able to stay on your knees, beautiful. Bring your arms up into our Cossack. If you want to sit on your buttocks for your spine twist, you can do so too. Forearm on forearm, shoulders drawn down. Chin lightly tucked to chest still. Look at that expensive wristwatch. And if you need that little amount of glute max engagement to keep the tailbone down the spine in neutral. We're going to move the arms and chest as one. Keep looking at that watch. On your next exhale with the T-zone on, you're going to start to rotate the chest and arms away from the belt line. Keep the hips forwards. Don't try and twist through your lower back. You're going to stop when your chest cannot rotate anymore. Shoulder down, and then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, spine twist, Cossack, and inhale to center. Good. So imagine I'm holding onto your pelvis here. If I turn to face you at the front, you'll start to see. I don't want you to navigate away from a really nice parallel belt line. I want you to use your side-lying waist. I want you to think about that space between your ribs and your hips where there are no bones. Primarily, that's where we want our rotation to occur. If you need to, that small squeeze of glute to max engagement to bring you into that neutral spine position will also keep your hips facing forwards. Don't push the belly forwards and don't arch through the lower back. This is not an arching exercise. In fact, we're working really hard to not move the lower body from the pelvis and the lumbar spine itself. We do utilize some of the vertebrae of the lumbar spine in that mid-thoracic back lumbar spine connection. But ultimately, we're using the T-zone to keep us from moving the pelvis. Let's do 2 on each side. Exhale, spine twist, and inhale, return to center. Good. Think about your waist as if you were Barbie. Twisting. Exhale, and inhale. Shoulders release. Don't lift your shoulders up and create tension. Last one. Come back to center, relax. Drop your bum back towards your heels and have a rest off your knees. Lovely. So before we actually go into rolling, we'll do a little bit of looking at our prone back work, because we're going to be opening up through that upper back connection, and I want you to really have a strong conditioning phase to counteract all of this rounded posture that you're going to do. So lay on your bellies for prone. Start with your hands in stop sign. You can turn your heels out, you can switch your bum off. We don't want to squeeze our glutes, and we don't want to over-exaggerate our lumbar extensors. Keep it up in the back. Drop your forehead, look into the mat with eyes and nose, or pop the pillow under your forehead if you need. Begin by softly releasing the shoulders from your ears and start to switch on your T-zone. Take your soft breath in for pelvic floor. Exhale, lift the abdominals off the mat, flattening and drawing the hip bones closer together in front. Check that you're not squeezing your bum in this position. It's a lift of the abdominals off the mat, not a squeeze of the glutes. From here, on your next exhale, looking into the mat with eyes and nose, we're going to exhale, glide the shoulder blades down our back, drawing into the waistline beneath the rib cage. Elbows are gliding down into the waist where we felt our rotation previously. And then we inhale, bring the hands back to face height. Trying to keep the neck relaxed. Focus on the exhale where you glide the shoulder blades down your back, drawing into the waistline beneath the rib cage. And then inhale, bring the hands back to face height. Try to keep your forearms on the mat, so you may need to widen your arms. Exhale, control the shoulder blades gliding down your back, holding on to the T-zone, thinking about it staying lifting from the mat. Inhale, hands come back to face height. For those of you that want a little bit more from this exercise, you could float the arms a paper's width from the mat, but I don't want you to think about over-engaging and pushing the belly forwards. So if the weight of the arms compromises, shoulders lifting and rounding over your ears, or you're bulging your belly and pushing it into the mat, bring the hands back to the mat to rest down. It could just be a really minute float from the mat if you want a little bit more to work through that upper back shoulder conditioning. Good, we're really working hard here to keep the neck from being overstimulated and tensing. So try not to tense your neck, dropping your chin really hard into your chest. Just look down the tip of your nose. The forehead can completely rest down if you choose. We're going to go for 2 more. Exhale, glide the shoulder blades down your back, drawing into that waistline. Elbows draw down to the waist. Inhale, hands to face height. Last one. Keep the downward phase of the exercise. Rest your palms, your elbows down. If you need to, you can have a little break from that T-zone engagement, making sure you switch back on when you're ready. We're going to practice our breaststroke prep head down. Eyes stay looking into the mat down the tip of the nose, even if the forehead floats. Switch back on, starting with pelvic floor and then adding that abdominal lift from the mat. And then start to take your breath in and float your palms from the mat. You want to keep the draw down of the shoulders from your previous stop sign engagement, itchy nose. And then we're going to start to draw some circles. So we're going to sweep the fingertips forwards. Don't shrug your shoulder up to your earlobe. Trace around the top arc of a circle. As you exhale, glide your shoulder blades down your back, drawing the elbow into the waistline and naturally drawing the fingers down to sweep that bottom arc of the circle. Inhale, sweep forwards, shoulders stay away from the ears. Exhale, glide the shoulder blades down to draw the palm down. Now you're tracing your circles on the surface of water. You could trace a few circles here before bringing the arms down to rest and having a break, maybe switching off T-zone, before you re-establish your connection and come back up. You could just work one arm, particularly if you felt like 2 arms from the mat overstimulates your neck extensors and really causes you to grind your jaw. Don't do that here. Stay focused on what's working, T-zone and pelvic floor, as well as that nice connection to your mid-deep center back, which is starting to get fatigued now. Let's have 3 final circles. I'll do these with you. Really making sure we've got that draw down of stop sign. We switched on, we float the arms. Inhale forwards, shoulders down. Exhale, glide the shoulder blade down. This will naturally draw the palm down. Last 2 circles. Look down the tip of your nose. Rest the forehead down if you need your last circle. 2 hands come back to the mat. Rest them down and rest the forehead down to have a break. Beautiful, well done. We're going to slide our hands down. We're going to round our back, push off the mat and come to rest in this position for a little rest. We're going to finish this prone work with swan prep, but some of you may really relate to just having a break out of this position in this rounded back. When you're ready, come back to the mat. Let's finish with swan prep. Hands come back to face height, widen a few centimeters from your chest. Look into the mat with eyes and nose and switch back on. You may need more abdominal lift from the mat. That's an extra notch on your belt over your hip bones for this. Keep your heels out. Try not to over squeeze your bum here. The glute max should not be engaged. Now we're going to take your first breath in and start to roll your nose towards the edge of your mat. Keep looking down the tip of your nose with your eyes at all times. Now as we exhale, we're going to gently draw the shoulder blades down our back. They're drawing deeper into the waistline than our stop signs to peel your chest off. Try to prevent yourself pushing yourself up with your arms. Keeping the abdominals lifted, inhale, the chest comes down slowly. Look back into the mat with eyes and nose. And then exhale, roll your nose under your chin and round open the back of your neck. Good, so on your inward breath, with the T-zone working, we're going to start to roll the nose towards the edge of the mat line. Try to look down the tip of your nose at all times. Then on the exhale, the shoulder blades glide down your back, drawing into that waistline. You want your tummy to be lifted from the mat, particularly in this position. You're looking at upper back extension. Keeping the tummy lifted from the mat, inhale, the chest comes back down, touch your nose, back to the mat. Look down into mat with the eyes, and then exhale, roll that nose under the chin and round open your back. Good, let's do 2 more of your swan prep. Really focus on not trying to drop the abdominals into the mat, particularly on that exhale position as we draw the shoulder blades down the back. We want to feel like those abdominals are engaged and lifted, and the upper back is moving to peel the chest off. Good, let's have one last swan prep. Inhale, roll the nose forwards towards the edge of the mat line. Exhale, tummy is lifted as we draw the shoulder blades down the back into the waistline to gently peel the chest off. Inhale, the chest comes back down. The tummy wants to stay lifted from the mat all the way through this movement. Nose looks back into the mat. Exhale, roll the nose under the chin, round open the neck. Have a lovely neck stretch here for a few breaths. And then you can soften into the mat. Drag your hands down to chest height. Round your upper back, push off your chest, and come back to that rounded shell pose position with your arms rested by your side and your head resting onto the mat. Have a break here. We're going to be moving now into seated for some of our rolling portion. Now, for those of you that are not rolling, you can skip this. You can lay on your back and come back to your bent knee fallouts, your lift foot, and your leg slides. 10 reps on each side. I've got an itchy nose, and Lord knows I cannot get rid of this itch. For this part of rolling, we're just going to look at half roll back, and if you'd like, possibly full rolling. It may be too early for you. You may need to benefit from your hamstring stretch before you full roll, so let's just stick with half roll back. For some of you that would like to, you can also utilize a band. I'm going to use this for hamstring stretch, so if you'd like to use it for half roll back too, you can. I'm starting with bent knee position. If you're using the band, you can wrap it around the soles of your feet and gather up the resistance. Any way you choose, over your wrists or scrunching up the band in your fists. Sit tall. Now you want to stay lifted throughout the spine in this seated position, just like you did when you did your calf raises at the beginning. Think about lengthening from the very base of your tailbone up through the spine, through your crown, and this will give you a better chance to engage your pelvic floor. Rounded, you will not be able to engage the full amount of your pelvic floor. That's the front and back passage. So stay lifted, take your breath and switch on. Lift the pelvic floor, lift the crown a little bit higher. Exhale, let's flatten the abdominals from hip bone to hip bone, off of the front of the thighs. Now, as we're in this seated tall position, relax your shoulders. If you're not using the band, the hands can place under the thighs. I'm going to start by dropping the chin to the chest, opening the back of the neck, and then I'm going to start to release the tailbone underneath my pelvis. I'm going to start to scoop my belly, exhale as I release my ribs to my hips and gently roll back. Now in this position, if you're using the band, push your heels down, draw your shoulders from your ears, look down at that flat belly, pause for a breath in. You should be resting on the bottom 2 lumbar spine vertebrae at the top of the pelvis. As we exhale, we're going to scoop the belly once more, rounding the forehead to the knees to come up rounded, drawing our fists towards our temples if we're using the band, and then inhale, shoot tall. Good, let's do that again. Drop the chin to the chest, so you lengthen your neck, and then repeat that by drawing the tailbone under. So you're lengthening through the lumbar spine. Then scoop the belly, release the ribs to the hips in front, and gently roll back. A little bit deeper this time. Take your breath in, look down at your flat tummy. Utilizing your band if you need. Exhale, pull your forehead to your knees, scooping out, exhale. Hands can be drawing temples, fist to temples, and then you want to shoot and lift through the spine. For those of you that are not utilizing the bands, you know that you can start to travel up the spine with each half roll back, looking at moving up to your bra strap line. Really take this route up the spine slowly. You don't have to be moving into full rolling just yet. Those of you that are moving towards full rolling and are using the band or not, I'm going to talk about that here. So for full rolling, the legs start to slide out into more or less a straight position. I'm not going to show you a full roll back. I'm going to show you a detailed, almost full roll back. Lift upright. So from this position, you want a really good scoop of the belly, and you want to release the tailbone, the chin to chest first, just like you normally would do. Now, as you scoop the belly and gently roll back, you'll notice I'm pushing my heels into the mat. I'm utilizing the elasticity of the band to roll down into this deep half roll back position. I'm just about placed where my shoulders are, and I take my breath in. Pushing your heels down and squeezing them together, squeezing your inner thighs together, scoop your belly, exhale, roll your forehead still to your knees. Using the band if you choose, draw your fist to your temples once more to come up rounded into this shell position. And then lift yourself upright through your inward breath. You want to make sure that you're taking your root down really slow. You can see I could hold that quite sustainably for a breath in and out, but I'm not going to make you hold it for very long. You want to make sure that your belly is completely scooped out, your heels are pressing into the mat. When you come into this position, you should be able to squeeze inner thighs and scoop your belly to round up to come up tall. When you move into a full roll down, press the heels into the mat. I'll show you a full roll down now. So moving into full roll down, we release the tailbone, the chin to chest, shoulders from the ears, and we want to release the vertebrae one at a time. So I'm releasing the vertebrae. Now I'm using the band just to show you. I'm lightly pressing the head to the mat, but I'm not releasing it completely. Now the reverse is really important. Squeeze the heels together and down, scoop the belly. Start to exhale, drawing the ribs towards the hips. From this position, most people get stuck. Use your band if you need. Start to bicep curl, pressing your heels into the mat, squeezing your inner thighs. Scoop the belly round. You can bend your knees as you come on up and come into your rounded shell position before you lift. Good. Let's do that again for your full rolling if you choose, or stick with half roll back. Full rolling is quite complex. You naturally want to lift your feet. Don't do that here. If you're using the band, you can use the elasticity and keep it really tight throughout. You want to release on the exhale, dropping chin to chest to scoop the belly. You don't want to rush. So I'm really taking my time releasing each vertebrae down. And as I come to this position, the head just slightly touches. Now I want to scoop the belly and use the bands. So ribs are going to draw to hips first. Notice this position is more or less like ab curl 1 with straight legs. Harder because you now need to squeeze your thighs, push your heels down into the mat. And start to lift yourself upright by rounding your forehead towards your knees. Ribs to hips are the first position, and then lift. Good, let's do one more. I'll show you at real time. You don't have to hold it as long as I do. Inhale at the top. Chin to chest, exhale, scoop the belly, rounding through the lower back, drop the ribs to the hips, and start to roll. Take your breath in here. Releasing the shoulders. Then drop the chin to the chest, start to sink the ribs towards the hips, scooping out the belly. From this position, squeezing inner thighs, pressing heels down. I'm rolling myself upright, ribs to hips is first, belly scoops, head towards the knees. And then lift. Have one more of whatever you choose to do, your half roll back, your full roll back, full roll down. Full rolling is not for everyone. So if you've got a back condition, that places a lot of opening through the lumbar spine, and you're more or less in an imprinted spine position when you are rolling on up. That means that your lumbar spine is flat on the mat, and it may not be for you. Okay, if you've got any disc compression, you want to avoid any excess placement on that region. So you can stick with half. If that's not for you either, don't worry about it. We're going to lie on our back now. Place your band close at hand. We're going to be doing the hamstring stretch really shortly. From this position, bend your knees, place your hands under your thighs or by your sides. Sit upright once more and switch on. Inhale, pelvic floor, exhale, T-zone. I'm going to roll down to the count of 10. Take really strong note of 7 and 8, really important. They'll come into play soon. From this position, on your exhale, drop your chin to your chest, tuck your tailbone. Good. Start to round, scooping out the belly, ribs to hips. That's 1, 2. Hands can place by your sides. 3, 4, 5. We're at the base of the shoulders. 6, 7, the tips of your shoulders now are on the mat, the head is lifted. 8 is the shoulders itself. 9, the top of the cervical spine, and 10 is the head. Beautiful. Bring your feet back into position, into your bent knee position. Now remember I said 7 and 8 is really important. Just like your ab curl positioning, that's where you should find the majority of your spine lifting from the mat. We're going to look at ab curl 1 in a moment. To begin with, we're going to start with lift and extend, just really gentle. So for those of you that didn't do your rolling, you did your bent knee fall outs, your lift foot and your leg slides. You can now complete with your lift and extend, or come back to arm prep if you've already done that exercise. Hands are going to be on the pelvis. Take a nice soft breath in and lift the pelvic floor. You should be very aware you're in neutral spine with the gap in your lower back. So on the exhale, we focus on the abdominals flattening to engage the transverse band. Good. On your next exhale, flattening through the belly, we're going to lift one foot from the mat, knee lifting above your hip bone. Lengthen the leg from hip to toe first, and then gently lower. You could lower so the two thighs are aligned, and then inhale, bend the knee, and place the foot down. Change sides. Exhale, flattening through the belly, not the lumbar spine, to lift the foot. Extend and exhale to lower. I'm trying to keep my lumbar spine pretty much in neutral throughout. Exhale to lift, extend, and lower. It could lower than that thigh, provided that you can keep your engagement of neutral spine and T-zone. So we're not tempted to utilize any mobility through the lower back or the pelvis. We want to utilize this hip joint to really train, strengthen, condition our transverse band. Good. Shoulders relaxed. Don't let me see you with any tension in that cervical spine. Pop a pillow under the head if you need to, and that will give you a little tuck of chin to chest as well. Good. Let's do 2 on each side. Exhale, extend and lower. Good. Excellent. Focus on the exhale where the ribs drop to hips to lengthen and lower the leg. And inhale and down one more. So that exhale is really switching on obliques front line to help support the T-zone to prevent the back from arching as you lower this heavy dumbbell, which is your leg. Last one. Come back to the mat, place 2 feet down. Stay switched on if you can. We're going to be moving straight into our ab curl 1. Those of you that are not curling, you could practice hundreds prep, just focusing on the ribs drawing towards the hips, not lifting the head from the mat. Good. I'm bringing my hands behind my head, elbows wide, chest open. I'm going to start with feet on the mat. Those of you that want to transition with me up the ladder can. A light tuck of chin to chest. Think about lengthening the neck. On your next exhale, we're going to scoop the belly, start to draw the ribs towards the hips as we peel the upper body from the mat. Think about coming onto that 7 or 8 count from the roll down that we practiced. Think about limiting, pushing your lower back into the mat, and then inhale to lower. That scoop of the belly should not be you pushing your lower back to the mat. So as we exhale to curl, we're sinking ribs to hips to scoop out the belly, peeling the shoulders off the mat, coming onto that 0.7 or 8. Inhale down. Good. Keep that light tuck of chin to chest. Think about lengthening the back of your neck here without straining your shoulders around your earlobes. Good. Exhale to curl. And inhale to lower. Those of you that want to, add your single leg tabletop, the knee alignment over your hip, and continue. This dumbbell weight is now being an extra strength and conditioning point for that T-zone and those ribs drawing to the hips, that oblique line. Exhale to curl, inhale to lower. So you could go for 4 on one leg before alternating 4 on the other side. Good. Think about the ribs to hips, the scoop of the belly to peel the upper body from the mat. You can alternate your single leg tabletop when you need. Try not to let the knee drop out to the side. Keep the alignment of knee over hip bone. And if you feel like you're losing your neutral spine, bring the feet back to the mat. After you've done 4 on each leg, you could also complete 4 with both legs from the mat or have a rest. Now this optional 2 in tabletop could include a space between the knees for extra stability challenge, or knees could be pressed together, feet too, and that might keep you a little bit more stable with both feet off the ground. After we've done 4, head comes back to the mat, we can release the hands. We can bring knees to chest if we choose for a little release. We're going to be moving into our toe taps, single leg or double leg tabletop if you choose. I'm going to be going straight into double leg tabletop because my feet are already lifted, but you can choose to do this single legged for 10 reps, exchanging 10 on the other side. From this position, knee alignment over the hip joint for tabletop. We're going to exhale, think about sinking the ribs to the hips as we tap one toe to the mat. Inhale to float back on up. Exhale, ribs drop to hips. Inhale to float. Good. We're utilizing those frontal oblique lines to keep the back within neutral. So you know in double leg tabletop, we still have a neutral spine. That's a small gap between the lumbar spine and the mat. This might be a little bit smaller if we were to place 1 foot on the mat here or 2 feet down. And we call that our safe spine. It's not imprinted where the lower back is pressed into the mat. That imprinting is a pelvis tuck, and I don't want you to think about dropping your pelvis back here. For those of you that want a little bit more, you could incorporate an ab curl hold. So we could curl, ribs towards the hips to scoop the belly, lifting up onto the points 7 and 8 of the ab curl, and holding, keeping that length in the back of the neck, the light tuck of chin to chest, alternating the toe taps. For some of you that like to move into double leg lowers, I want you to think about how that compromises your lower back. So if I was to bring my head back to the mat, and I was to try and drop 2 feet to the mat, this really is a lot of weight load on your lumbar spine, particularly the lowest lumbar spine vertebrae. It's working really hard not to be lifted forwards into that arch. So double leg lowers is something you could maybe consider if you can hold shoulders drawn down, ribs drawing to hips, scooping the belly. If you placed one hand in your lower back and one hand on the front just below the belly button, as you exhale to lower both legs, do you feel that your belly pops forwards? Do you feel that your lower back arches from your fingers? If this is the case, please don't do this exercise. Please stick with your toe taps, single-legged, double-leg tabletop, even including the ab curl hold. So for some of you, I noticed you do like this exercise, but do you really have a strong connection to hold it? Let's finish with your final 2 toe taps, single leg or double leg with the ab curl if you choose. Some of you, even if you can, you might be doing your double leg lowers at this point. Then we're going to bring 1 foot down at a time and have a small break. Good. We're going to be moving straight into our hamstring stretch. Now for hamstring stretch, you can use band. You don't have to. If you don't have a band at home, leave it alone. I'm going to be using a band. I'm going to be switching on the T-zone, coming into tabletop, imprinting my back when I draw my knee to my chest to loop my band on. I'm going to come back to tabletop, knee alignment over hip, and hopefully a neutral spine. I'm going to twist over the band because I'm using a light one and I want more resistance. You can keep it open if you choose. Wrap the band around your fists and draw your shoulders and elbows into the mat. Take a deep breath in. From this point, lengthen the leg forwards into the band. Don't lengthen the leg up. Think about lengthening the leg forwards to take tension off of that lumbar spine joint and off the front hip flexor. Take a deep breath in, and on your next exhale, slowly start to lift the leg towards 90. You know the game. Stopping before, you imprint your lower back, you lift your hips off, you drop your leg out to the side, you bend the knee really strongly. So I want you to work within the range of a neutral spine for your hamstring. Once you found that position and you feel that tension, the stretch continuing from the back of your pelvis to your knee, hold and breathe. Good. Deep breath in and out. Good. We're going to gently pull on the ends of the band to pull the front of the thigh to your chest and initiate your hamstring stretch. Keep breathing in and out gently. Keep this supporting foot pushed lightly to the mat. Now, add your footwork if you want. Inhale, point your toes up towards the ceiling. Don't scrunch the toes over. Lengthen the front of the foot. And then exhale, pull the toes to the nose, press the heel up. Keep pulling the front of the thigh to the chest for the hamstring work. Inhale to point, and exhale, flex. Good. Inhale, point, and flex. Lovely. Point, and flex. Keep that hamstring going. 2 more. Last one. Beautiful. From this position, we're going into single leg circle. Some of you may choose to drop the band and come back to the bent knee circle, and some of you may choose to slide this remaining base leg out. Try to keep the knee and the hip aligned to the ceiling. I'm going to go straight into single leg straight circle, so I'm going to rotate the whole leg out from the hip joint. Then I'm going to start to drop the leg out to the side, exhale, sweep around and in. Good, keeping the hip bones level, out to the side, exhale, inhale around and in. Start with a small circle, shoulders drawn softly back from the ears, elbows to the mat. For some of you that have lengthened that remaining base leg, you can start to utilize a bigger circle, pushing into the band and sweeping this leg over the midline of your body. Getting a really nice, strong circle. Start small and then encourage a larger circle if the T-zone can hold it. Let's make one more circle in this direction, and then we're going to change. Bring the leg to the top of the circle, keep it turned out. Sweep the leg down, through the center line and out. Exhale, inhale, up and in. Sweep the leg down, exhale and out. Inhale, up and in. Good, let's keep it going. A smaller circle could be more significant to the T-zone that you're working with. If you feel like you cannot keep the pelvis level, you cannot keep that straight leg, focused hip, knee to the ceiling. Good, let's do 2. And 1. Bring the foot to the top of the circle, realign it straight, slide the base leg in if it's straight. Bend the knee towards your chest, take the band off, let's change sides. So we're going to come into tabletop. T-zone wants to be working. I'm going to imprint my back as I bring my knee towards my chest to loop the band over the sole of my foot. I'm crossing the band again. I've only got this light one and I want more resistance. You can keep it open. Wrap the band around your hands and draw your elbows into the mat. Come back to tabletop, neutral spine. Have a wiggle, make sure you are in neutral. Shoulders from the ears. Start to kick forwards to lengthen your leg. Think about lengthening the leg. And then on the next exhale, gently lifting the leg, using your muscles of your quadricep to lift the leg towards 90. Keep working within that neutral spine range, please. Take a deep breath in and on the exhale, pull the front of the thigh towards the chest. Start to initiate that strong hamstring connection. You can add your footwork, pointing the toes on up. Inhale, lengthening the front of the foot. Exhale, flex, toes to the nose. Lift, inhale, and flex. Push your heel up at this point. Good. Keep focusing on the hamstring. Pulling the front of the thigh to the chest, shoulders from the ears. And try not to let that component go. If the footwork takes away from the hamstring stretch, you can let go of the footwork and just focus on that static stretch. Okay, let's do 2. And 1. Good, let's release the foot. Like I said, some of you will come back to bent knee circle, dropping the band. I'm going to go into straight leg circle and I'm lengthening out my supporting leg. I want to keep this leg aligned to the ceiling, turning the banded leg out from the hip joint. Sweep the leg out to the side and down, exhale around and in. Out to the side and down, exhale, inhale around and in. Start with a nice small circle. Think about keeping the pelvis level on the mat, not rolling side to side. Check the tension is not shoulders in your earlobes. Start with a nice small circle. You can press your base supporting leg, even if it's long, into the mat to give you some more stability. Those of you that have lengthened that base leg, remember you can start to take the leg over the midline of the body, pushing the leg into that band to give you a bigger circle. Let's do one more in this direction and then we're going to alternate. Come back to the top of the circle. Now let's take the leg down through the mid-center line and out to the side. Exhale, inhale around and in. Keep the turn out of the foot from the hip joint itself. Try to keep the pelvis level, and if you need to back off, come to a smaller circle or Bentley circle. Shoulder blades from the ears. Don't create tension in that neck joint. Push that supporting base foot or straight leg into the mat. Final 2. And 1. Come to the top of the circle, realign the leg, slide the base leg in, bend the knee, and let's unloop the band. Good. Now I'm going to come up back to seated to finish my rolling exercises. Some of you that don't want to continue can stay and do your pelvic curl. Now I'm coming back to rolling. I'm going to actually be doing rolling like a ball and then balance and open leg rocker prep to open leg rocker. I've got nice, warm, flexible hamstrings now, but some of you may find that even if you stretched, this is still quite a hard exercise for you. They're my most challenging. So we're going into rolling like a ball. So in this position, you want to bring your knees quite close to your chest and hug onto your thighs. You want to keep your chin tucked to chest, so you're not tempted to throw your head back and bang the back of your head, which is quite sensitive on the ground. Now remember those points of 7 and 8 that I talked about when we rolled back for the count of 10, and in your ab curl 1, that's where you're rolling to no higher than 7 or 8, okay? Even 8 is quite high, so I'd say stick with 7. You want to be rolling just to your shoulders, not on your neck or your head, which is very sensitive. I'm going to show you. So from this position, I'm actually going to sit upright, lifting my spine to switch on. Once I've got my T-zone connection, I'm going to really tuck myself into a tight ball. I'm drawing my chin to my chest, and I'm coming into that hugger tree position where I've got really wide shoulders and I've barreled out my chest. I'm going to start to lift my heels from the mat. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, scooping the belly. I'm going to roll back and forwards. Good. Keep your feet quite close to you. Roll back and forwards. Take a breath in. Exhale and forwards. Keep your chin tucked to your chest. Look at your groin. Use your belly to scoop out as you roll back and forwards. And if you find you're hitting the mat on that flat back position, you're not scooping your belly out and you're not using that nice rounded position from your hugger tree. You really want to be rounded through the spine, and that will prevent you hitting the mat. Oh, I'm going straight into open leg rocker. Hitting the mat with a thud, okay? So rolling like a ball is the first exercise. For some of you, you're going to be going straight into your control balance because you're going to be finding the point where you're sitting on your sit bones. So we're going to control how much effort the lower abdominals now contribute to this exercise. So I'm going to go into my rolling like a ball. Exhale to roll back, and as I come up, I'm going to try and stop myself from slamming my feet into the ground. I can lightly touch my toes for the first few to figure out how much of those abdominals and how much of this rounded back position I need to get me to balance on those sit bones. So I'm really thinking about hugger tree and chin to chest. Exhale, scoop the belly and forwards, and I'm finding my ball balance. Exhale, forwards, inhale. Find that balance using that scooped out belly position. Now this is really important when we look at our roll in our open leg rocker. It's more or less the first position I want you to think about before you start to lift yourself upright. So for some of you, when you found the brakes, I want you to now think about lifting the spine into this nice tall position, which is where you're going to be in open leg rocker. So rounded, yes, roll like a ball and balance. Once you've got your balance, start to lift the spine upright and start to think about creating a V or hinge shape from your hip bones. So tuck the chin, exhale, scoop the belly, roll, find the balance and lift. Good. Oh, I've hit a very loose board in my floor. So this lift position, where you're looking more at a hinge shape or a V shape from your hips, is the next component of moving from balance to rocker. Now, open leg rocker is challenging. I'm only going to go to open leg rocker prep. There is a video that takes you through into open leg rocker on our page, and because I'm running out of time. So from this position, I'm going to go I'm now got my hands on underneath my thighs. I'm not rounded forwards, holding onto my forearms, really important. So I've got myself switched on, my chin is tucked to my chest. I'm gonna round my back, scooping my belly, exhale, roll back, hand forwards, finding my balance. Now I wanna lift myself upright into that V shape. I'm going to open out my knees. That's the first prep position, opening the knees, utilizing this position of V. And then I can run my hands up my calves and extend my legs. I'm lifting my chest, pushing my calves down into my hands as I simultaneously pull my calves up towards my chest. Then I'm going to bend, place my knees back together, come back to rounded. Scooping the belly, exhale, roll back and forwards to find your balance. Remember that you want to lift your chest upright of your hips so that you're able to open your knees first. You want to be lifted enough so that when you start to lengthen your legs, you can lift up through that sternum and come to this V shape. Not rounded, V. Push your legs into your hands, pull your legs into your chest using your arms. Then you bend at the knees, place the knees together, come back to rounded. Roll and up. Lift yourself. So don't stay rounded, try and lift yourself upright, opening your knees, running your hands up your calves to open out the legs. V shape. And then round, come back. That's your open leg rocker prep. Now for some of you that are like, oh, I can do this, how does that translate to open leg rocker? When you come into this V position, you keep it. You keep this lift. Now you round your back to roll back, and as you come back on up, you want to find the lift again to come back to the V shape. Round, and lift. Ooh, I lost it, round, and lift. Woo, there you go. Pushing your calves down into your hands, pulling your calves towards your chest with your arms. This is all about creating tension, and it's very much teaser shaped, and it's very, very strong exercise on the back. So, open leg rocker, prep first, lifting into the V, before you try and round the back and roll back. Like you've seen there, that's probably one of my hardest exercises for me. We're going to finish on that exercise here. So make this your last one. You could be just rolling like a ball, balancing, or coming into prep, or even looking at open leg rocker. We're going to lay on our back and come back to pelvic curl, just for a few, just to finish. So come on down, bring your heels a little bit closer to your bottom. Release your shoulders from your ears, arms by your side. You're in your neutral spine. Switch on once more. Take a deep breath in. Start to drop the tailbone down underneath the pelvis as we release the lumbar spine to the mat, coming into that posterior pelvic tilt. Now we're going to squeeze our glutes, pushing into the heel of our tripod. As we push into the feet, we're starting to engage hamstrings. We're going to roll the pelvis, the lumbar spine from the mat. As we roll up to the shoulders, where we were rolling onto in rolling, take your breath in and check. My ribs are down, my glutes are on, my back's not arched. Then we're slowly going to exhale and roll back down. Upper back first, releasing the rib cage, then the lower back to the mat, then the weight of the pelvis before you inhale and come back to neutral. Good. If you're not rolling up, you're just using a neutral lift, you want to squeeze your glutes by pushing into the heel of the tripod, lifting neutral pelvis directly up, taking your breath in at the top, making sure glute max engagement's on, and then slowly lifting a neutral pelvis down. That might be more beneficial for you if you cramp your hamstrings. Whatever you're doing, you can add your traction if you'd like. Take your breath in, rolling or neutral lifting, exhale to come up to pelvic curl. At the top, take your breath in, float your arms over your chest, reaching overhead, the mat or the carpet behind you if you can. And then as we exhale, we're going to sink down, extending from armpit to fingertip a little bit more with each vertebrae that lowers to the mat. Good. Once we come to the bottom, take your breath in, release your arms by your side. Go for 2 more. Roll the pelvis back if you're rolling, or lift into neutral, exhale, utilizing glute max and hammies. Inhale, hold at the top, reach the arms overhead to traction, and then exhale, sink down. Really reach armpit to fingertip with each vertebrae that comes back in contact with the mat to get that nice long lat stretch. And then inhale, release arms by side, your final one. Exhale, squeezing the glutes, peeling the pelvis off, or neutral lifting. Inhale at the top, and then exhale, roll down. Good, come back to your neutral position. Release your arms by your sides. Squeeze your inner thighs together, roll on your side, push yourself up to finish. Well done. Good. So we've concentrated a lot on opening the back. So some of you may feel that you're quite light when you stand up, and you may need to take some extra time before really trying to do anything else after class. I hope you enjoyed the class. We'll do some hip stretching in the next workout for this week. And I'll see you very soon. Bye.